began. And we ended up with the COVID, and the whole world suffered. We did a phenomenal job. I don't think we got the credit we deserved. We did something that Operation
You're gonna get
Warp
tired
Speed,
of
which some
winning.
people say was
You're
one of the
gonna be
greatest,
tired of the winning, baby.
military feats
Oh my
ever.
God, it's so
They did a
dark.
Great job. Use our military, use a lot of people.
Donnie is speaking at the
Sometimes you get hit
WEF
with
live
things,
right
nothing
now.
you
I've
can
been
do.
watching this whole time.
You
I
get
just
hit
got
with
the
things
stream
like
ready.
that unexpectedly, and we got through it. And when I
Okay.
left, the
We're gonna be
stock
diving
market
into
was
this.
higher than it was
Appreciate you
previous
if you're
to
watching.
the COVID coming up, and that was. I called it
Appreciate you if you're
but
watching
things happen.
the
Bad
VOD
things
and also
happen.
if you're live. Yo, what up,
The
Shepard?
things
What
we
up,
can
Cass?
stop our wars if we're smart. That
You're
we
gonna
can
get
stop.
tired of
Those
winning.
are a matter of being intelligent.
He's live
and
right now,
having
by the way.
intelligent people on the other side.
Hello.
Because wars are the worst of all. Wars are worse than anything.
War.
But we can stop wars because that's sort of up to us. But things like dust.
What up? Yo, hit the like button. Hit the like button.
Whatever comes.
He's been live. I don't know if anyone's been tuning into this. He's been live for about a half hour at Davos. We're going to get into it. I'm going to give people a minute to storm on in. We're not missing anything. We're not missing anything. I've been watching this whole time. It's the same script, nothing crazy. And then now he was up there talking to all of them, and now he's doing like the little, he's asking them questions, and yeah, it's just a lot of yapping right now. I wanted to hear if he said anything crypto related, which he the only thing he said is yet again from his script of we want to be the crypto capital of the world, so I did Genius, and then now the Congress or whatever's working real good on the Clarity Act, but we already know this. Nothing of substance there. He just says he wants to be China. It's literally just all the same stuff. And then Greenland. That was kind of the main thing about it. He's just, yet again, he's adamant he wants Greenland for strategic value. So he says, because he said, what he also said was, he's like, rare earth is not so rare. So we want it for the strategic value because, you know what I actually did like when what he said? He said, there's no such thing as rare earth. There's such thing as rare processing. And that's a very valid statement. I thought that was, I never heard that.
So, you don't know how that would have turned out. But so we do.
What up, guys?
Subject to that, and I always have to put a caveat.
Guys, hit the like button.
We're poised to have the greatest growth of any large country. I think any country. That,
Yeah, he just keeps saying all this shit.
When
Normal.
you look at what's happening in the United States, it's really amazing.
Yeah, it's not a new idea at all. And he said,
one thing
like the history of it, like it was ours, but then we gave it back. Like it could have been ours, but we gave it back to them. But I mean, I don't know.
The U.S. debt is high, is now the biggest expenditure on your budget. How to get out of that impasse?
Well, the big thing is growth. I mean, growth is the way. If we grow like this, we go from having a 37 trillion dollars. We go from having high debt to low debt. But we also are cutting expenses, the old-fashioned way. We have extraordinary growth. I think we're going to be growing our way out. I think we're going to be paying off debt. We're taking in tremendous money from tariffs fairly. And again, I'm using them judiciously. Switzerland's a case study. I could have gotten much more. I could have asked for much more.
Yeah, he was bragging.
Judiciously, but I think growth, most importantly, and then cutting costs. Now, if you
what did he say about the sweet? Oh, he was like, yeah, she kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Are you talking about the lady?
In fraud and
what up,
other
Denny?
Things.
What up, guys? What up? What up?
Going to airports, they came into the country, they don't have 10
Yeah,
cents, and they're leaving
live
with
chat.
hundreds of thousands of cash in their bags. When we get to that, and our DOJ, Pam, and Todd, and all the people that work over there, and all the people that work in
Pam's
here,
doing a great job.
Scott Bessent is working on that. It's a priority, right? You have your whole team.
Scott Bessent is legit.
Where this money is coming from, how much it is. It could
in terms of knowing what he's doing.
$19 billion. Can you believe that? That's just one state. If we were able to cut out 50% of the fraud, 50%, and we should be able to do better than that, we would have a balanced budget.
Good luck doing all that. We're aware of all this already. We're kind of tapped in. What I want to get to is I just got this live. We'll let people stroll in, hit the like button. All that stuff helps out the algorithm. I did not watch Brad and Brian on the tokenization panel because it happened really early. I thought it was later in the day like this. And And yet again, there's like nothing to tap into because Donnie's gonna be on CNBC around like 2 p.m. or something like that. It's just gonna be the same stuff, really. There's nothing worthy to tap into, but we're gonna get into that. Yes, he wanted 30% tariff, and because she pissed him off, he put it to 39. Yeah, dude. Because seriously, like how I just don't. I understand some of these like places' perspective, but it's like at a certain point he is kind of right. Of like these guys have been milking the pony for so long, and then it's like, all right, you just have to pay basically a little bit more in the grand fucking scheme of how long you've gotten away with like nothing. It's insane. So like to an extent, I think he has a point. Yet again, certain cases, XRP rallying right now. I wouldn't say rallying, but you know, it was interesting when I look on my whole top stack and all red. Bitcoin, everything's red, and then this is up like 1% or 2%. Up 2 cents while everything is still down. I thought that's just an interesting sight, you know? Like, yeah, it's 2 fucking cents, but I don't know. That is interesting. What's he saying now?
This way we have no problem, and otherwise they'd be complaining. There'd be nobody able to. But
Yo.
you know, we have an old grid system, and not only that, they're going to sell at a very cheap price the excess electricity that they create back into our grid. So that'll solve some problems.
It was 188. Dropped down that much.
Enough electricity.
We also know that on the AI, there is fierce competition between the US as the largest economy in the world, 27% of the global GDP and 5% of the global population, not doing that badly, and China. And we know that competition is very tough on AI. I know you're heading to a state visit to China in April. How do you see the US-China relationship moving forward? Are you able to combine
Is that even English?
this tough competition with also collaboration?
So I've always had a very good relationship with President Xi and with President Putin. Talk about, you know, the larger powers. But I've always had a very good relationship with President Xi of China.
Dollar.
He's an incredible man. What he's done is amazing. He's highly respected by everybody. And I do now. I mean, now I have good. It was very severely interrupted by COVID. I used to call it the China virus, but he...
No, I never. All right, now he's talking about shit that's going to get me banned, bro. As crazy as it is, it's like, I don't know. It's just stupid shit. No, I never heard of USOR, corn oil. I don't know what that is. But yet again, I stick to my my blue chip cryptos. You know, that term is kind of legit at this point. The products that I get in the CME products, along with ETFs, those are probably the safe bets.
By 100% of the votes. Think of it. He got liberal Democrats.
Oh my God, he's talking about. All right, we got to move on. How many people we got in here? How many people we got in there? All right, that's enough of Donnie. We kind of get the whole shtick. There's no way. There's some interesting developments, though, I will say, in regards to World Liberty Financial. Guys, hit the like button. We got 22 likes, and we got 44 people in here, so something ain't adding up. Mike, I'm listening and I'm working. All right, that's fine. Just tap the like button and then get back to whatever you're doing. That's it. Just real quick. Yo, hit the like, Mike. Yo, you kidding me? I'd be like Mike, bang, fucking dunking on fools. Well, I am in class right now. By the time I finish, the stream will probably be done, but happy to be a part. Yo, I appreciate that, ancient monarch. What kind of class you in? Learning how to cook a brisket. Do you use conditioner in your bed? Nah. We in the Titanic for sure with all this crap. I mean, if you're positioned right, you're chilling. Japan's bond rates are fucking going. Woo! They look like a meme coin, and everyone's saying that's the first domino. Whatever breaks first over there. Bad news or good news today? I mean, it's for the past year, it's been nothing but good news. I mean, price action, everyone's worrying about. I think the price comes later. I mean, we know how this story goes. Everyone gets in first, positions right, and then the price goes. Everything needs to be in place for this type of shit. You kidding me? Let's go Japan. I mean, we're unfortunately praying for its downfall, but I think in the end it'll be okay because they got the solution almost ready. Oh yeah, USD for sure. are your thoughts on Bitcoin dormant wallet? Well, aren't there a ton of dormant wallets? What do you mean? Tons, I think. Like, ton of OG ones that haven't moved, but some of them have been kind of heating up and activating and moving stuff. Or are you talking like the Satoshi wallet? I don't know what you mean. So we aren't getting dabbled. Well, I mean, in this space, you're constantly getting dabbled because it's just the way it goes. Yo, what up, Ant? Live stream at work makes the day go by faster. Yo, I like to hear that, bro. Anything to fucking... Oh, man. Yeah. What do you think of all the holy rollers saying God gives them the financial advice to buy XRP? It sketches me out. I don't even know what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about like JV and like the people who... There are kind of like a subset of people who connect it to a religious type thing. I don't know too much about it. That's not how I view it, so... The Satoshi era won 85 million. Well, someone said... What, 85 million? Satoshi era one? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what you mean. On the live, I mean? I did see Trump mention crypto bill he wants to sign. So yeah, he just reiterates what we already know. Nothing new. Except the Greenland stuff. But have you seen the Christian Roman coin that looks like... No, I have not. I think all the holy rollers. Never heard that name. All right. Guys, hit the like button, and then we're gonna roll into... I gotta find the tokenization panel. I'm dying to see this. I'm dying. Because I saw a bunch of... As I'm scrolling to, like, find the source, I was seeing some clips and some captions of what was said in it. So... Yeah, Donnie. Institutional adoption. Nailed it. Bam is out here saying... Wait, what? EU freezes... Oh, shit, here we go. Oh, yeah, just in the EU freezes U.S. trade deal approval indefinitely over Trump's Greenland threats. Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go. Yo, he went up there, though, and he was like, I have some friends out there and some enemies. And he's like, I know who's watching this shit. No, there wasn't anything said. Yet again, it seems like such theater to a certain end, you know. The whole world's a stage. Evernorth just posted something. Hold up. Donnie. Yeah. America. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of breaking news today. Now that he's there, everyone's going to be milking this for views and shit. DXC. I don't know what that is. Oh, Kevin O'Leary's fucking talking about crypto again. Yeah. Oh, bro. Oh, this is crazy. There's so much giant potential things that could be happening. Stay with me. I think I covered the clip last night on a Patreon video. Go support on Patreon. Exclusive videos there. That's what I'm saying. There's like extended stuff over there that be live, but I reacted to the video yesterday, and it was Don Jr. and he's on his thing on whatever his video platform, and he's getting a serious announcement out talking about World Liberty Financial Con, essentially in a very, very, very exclusive group of the top powerful people in finance and finance AI, all that shit. So that's kind of like Donnie's version of, oh, you guys have your WEF, I want to go over here and do my World Liberty Financial Super Show, whatever it actually is, exclusive at Mar-a-Lago. And I remember a couple of conspiracy theories floating out. I can't remember where the source was from, but had anyone ever heard the term, you know what, I got grok, what am I saying? Crazy, this fucking thing. I heard this theory about this theory called the Mar-a-Lago Accords. Okay, it's not an official signed international agreement yet, but it's a conceptual framework or proposed strategy often discussed in economic and financial circles, aimed at restructuring aspects of global trade, currency values, and U.S. debt dynamics to benefit the U.S. economy. The term draws inspiration from the 1985 Plaza Accord, where major economies coordinated to weaken the US dollar, but replaces Plaza with Mar-a-Lago. Okay, the core idea and the origins. The concept largely stems from an influential 2024 paper by Stephen Moran, who later became chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under Trump. And it was titled, A User's Guide to Restructuring the Global Trading System. And it argues that the US dollar is structurally overvalued due to the global demand for US treasuries as a safe reserve asset. This hurts US manufacturing and exports while fueling persistent. Okay, well, whatever. You can go on and read it. But I remember hearing that float around. And it gives me vibes of, like, yet again, Federal Reserve 2.0. Like, they want to cement something in history like that. And of course, because while he's up on stage too, he's always like, oh, I did this, this is so great, this, that. To drop me nuts on the floor or like sign the Clarity Act there, because you know a lot of the crypto guys are going to be there for sure. Crypto and AI. That's going to be a top secret. Top secret. That's just where I could see something going down. Because they got to take advantage of that, you know? He's going to want that fucking political win to say, I did this. What the hell are you saying? Are we rich yet? No. Not yet. Well, I mean, define rich. Are you rich in magnesium? I don't know. I got no clue. Sound is good today. Only on a quarter volume. That's what's up. Cashinate put that together? Put what? Clarity Act is a top priority. Things are happening. Well, they're all together at Davos right now. And that's... No, let's get to... I keep getting sidetracked. Let's get to this tokenization panel. Guys, you got to hit the like button. Got to hit the like button real quick. Appreciate that. Helps the stream out. It's the bare minimum we could do on YouTube for this. Oh, yeah, I got mad footage. Mad footage. XRP XLM, H-bar, my focus. Don't want to... XRP XLM, for sure. H-bar would be another one. Link would be another one. Sol would be another one. SHX would be another one. Quant would be another one. XDC potentially. I don't know too much about really any of those beyond kind of my top ones, obviously. I'm rich in Arc Raiders. Yo, shout out Arc Raiders, dude. I just started playing it like last week or something. I only like the close quarter stuff. Oh, dude, now I want to play Arc Raiders. Yo. Shout out. Is tokenization the future? Well, you could bet your sweet ass it is, because Larry the Fairy is... You act like you're hitting the arrow to share the stream and copy the link. It helps the stream too. Does it? You run solo or teams? I've only played with my friends, and that's like, maybe I would run a solo, maybe, but it's... Games are only kind of fun to me, like multiplayer games with friends. Otherwise, like, I don't know, I get kind of bored. All right, let's get this panel rocking. Yes, bitch. Oh my God, it's happening. Come on, this is going to be where the content is. Dude, yes, let's go. I'm hyped. 194. 194. Do you understand what is happening? I'm loaded on SHX. I need to learn what SHX does. Yo, morning, everybody. Gold and silver was suppressed. Gold hit another all-time high, though. Not so, like an hour ago. What do you mean? Or a couple hours ago. Some shit like that. I hope Mike sees it. He's like tinfoil hat stuff. Wait, like what? Sees what? Sees what? Come on, get this fucking... Let's get... Yeah, we go.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this fantastic panel on tokenization. I'm Karen Cho, anchor of Squawk Box Europe on CNBC. Now, just to remind you how we arrived at today, it was a few years back. I was at a property conference in the city of London. I left the conference convinced that just about every physical asset would be tokenized at some point. Because it will. A piece of the Shard, the Empire State Building, pretty much any piece of real estate was up.
Dubai's already doing it. UAE's already doing it.
But talk went quiet, superseded by AI fever. But it's readily apparent in 2026 that there's been a ton of work happening in the backdrop. We've got banks, we've got asset managers, crypto players, other innovators have been quietly working.
Put that shit. Oh yeah, I'll definitely put it faster. Put it like 125.
And of course, the Trump family not so quietly storming to the space, promising to bring real estate assets onto the blockchain and to tokenize Trump properties this year. Now, is tokenization on the cusp of a breakout year in 2026? Is it the future of global finance? We have a terrific panel, and just a reminder, you can get involved on socials, hashtag WEF.
Why is Brad on the end? Who the fuck are these guys? And why is Lex Luthor in front of Brad? They always like, I don't know. It's odd.
2026. So on the panel today, we have joining us Francois Villeroy-Degalot, who is the governor of the Central Bank of France, also ECB Governing Council member.
Oh, that's actually a pretty big deal. Okay. All right. Maybe he could be there.
Bill Winters, Group Chief Executive, Standard Chartered Bank, also International Business Council. Valerie Aubin, Chief Executive Officer, Euroclear Belgium. Brian Armstrong.
Get them the fuck out of there. You kidding me? Brad should be in front of those two
Founder and
people.
Chief Executive Officer, Coinbase.
Hell?
And Brad Garlinghouse, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Ripple. Thank you so much for joining us today. Well, Governor, I want to kick off the conversation exploring why we are here today talking about tokenization. France has the G7 presidency this year. You put innovative finance on the agenda already, talking about tokenization. Why?
Okay, I want to hear from our guys. I don't give a fuck about what the French are saying to be, or like them. Who cares? Who cares? All right, Lex Luthor, what's he saying?
See about the institutional...
will be heavily influenced by regulation, but it doesn't change the direction of travel.
We can pick up on the regulation point in a moment. In the meantime, Brian, you are one of the biggest advocates for tokenization in the room. You've talked a lot on CNBC about the institutional demand that is coming into the mix. What real-world problem does tokenization solve, and how does it promise to improve the future of finance?
Yeah, well, tokenization solves a lot of problems. I mean, there's an efficiency aspect to it. You can have real-time settlement, lower fees, but maybe the most powerful part of it is just democratization of access to investment in high-quality products. You know, a lot of people have heard about the unbanked. There's actually an unbrokered segment of the world as well. There's about 4 billion adults who don't have access or any ability to invest in high-quality assets, like the U.S. stock market or, you know, real estate or whatever. So what tokenization can do is, it's just like, you know, you have an underlying unit of that asset. You now have a token that's one-to-one representative of that. The first version of this was stablecoins. That's another version of tokenization. So stablecoins have been growing enormously. We're now seeing that happen with U.S. equities, real estate. It'll happen with corporate paper, you know, commodities, like all kinds of things will come on chain. And this is just going to allow the people of the world to participate in this engine of wealth creation, which most of them don't have access to if they're only dependent on their labor for some source of income. So it'll be a great boon for capitalism. It'll create more demand. When we speak with funds like at BlackRock and Apollo, they've said, you know, they want to tokenize every single fund that they have, and they just know that it'll increase demand for their products. So Coinbase launched a product called Coinbase Tokenize, which is helping institutions do this, and we're incredibly bullish on it. If I can make one other point, just to build on what the central bank governor here said earlier, you know, I do think that stablecoins are going to play a major role. I think central bank digital currencies can also play a complementary role. And you know, people think about our current financial system as kind of sacrosanct and it's the only way to do it. But you know, if you study the history of money, really, it's got created in like 1971 when Nixon went off the gold standard in the U.S. and we currently have the system where most central banks don't have any link to a hard commodity underneath. I think fiat currencies are going to continue to exist for a long time, but we're also seeing the birth of a new monetary system that I would call the Bitcoin standard instead of the gold standard. And in the crypto space, that is a return to you know, sound money and something that is inflation resistant, because democracies around the world, once we came off the gold standard, are struggling to balance their budget. They're all running deficits, and it's caused inflation in fiat currencies. And so there is a real segment of the population that is looking for a new system based on hard money.
Brad, on that note, there are lots of sound bites there, lots to respond to.
I want what he's
seeing
smoking.
the momentum first up, tokenized assets on Ripple's XRP ledger.
What? What? It's such blatant conflict of just interest in terms of, yet again, we saw them and JP's fucking like CCB ecosystem for Bitcoin, like Bitcoin Treasury, all this like shit connections because they have a ton of it. So of course, what the oh my god, yeah. So they took us off the sound money. And it's been a shit show ever since. But there's this new thing now. Just go back. Do you think they're not going to go back to the sound money? No, I don't see any central banks buying fucking Bitcoin. I see them buying a lot of gold, though. I see Tether buying a lot of gold. I see gold racking up in price. I see silver racking up in price. Doesn't mean Bitcoin won't have its day or whatever, or yet again, or maybe have its segment in it. But I don't see the central banks buying Bitcoin.
Surged over 2,200% last year. Just weigh in from your perspective.
Well, I think I agree with a lot of what was said here. You know, I do think the first poster child of tokenization is really stablecoin.
Dude, the things you need to even build anything to allow anything, any electronic to exist, you need the fucking actual materials. You can have this fucking fake money or whatever, but without the raw material to even allow you to use the interface to interface with the fake fucking, you need the thing. You need the fucking, oh, it's a pet rock. It's a pet rock. That's what CNBC is always saying. It's a pet rock. All right, well, you need that pet rock to even have the TV to fucking see what bullshit you're spewing. Get this guy off my
Democracies around
screen.
the world once became
Your face. He's literally spewing the Stellar playbook, though. I mean, at the end of the day, oh, everyone can have it. Yeah, this, that. In his head, he's going, bzz, bzz, bzz. The amount of fees I'll be raking in, the amount of fees I'd be raking in, I'll be fucking swimming in a vault like Scrooge McDuck. I'm saying Bitcoin, but in my vault, you know what he has? Not fucking Bitcoin. He's got gold.
Gold standard are struggling to.
Oh my God, they came off the sound money. Let's never put them back.
So there is a real segment of the population that is looking for a new system based on hard money.
Brad, on that note, there are lots of sound bites there, lots to respond to. You're already seeing the momentum. First up, tokenized assets on Ripple's XRP ledger surged over 2,200% last year. Just weigh in from your perspective.
Well, I think I agree with a lot of what was said here. You know, I
Put
do
'em
think the first poster child of tokenization was really stablecoins. You saw, as Brian observed, you know, massive growth last year. I think, you know, it went from, in 2024, $19 trillion of transactions on stablecoins. Last year, in 2025, is $33 trillion, so about 75% growth. I think many in our industry would say that's going to continue. I think to the extent there's space between what Brian was just talking about and how I think about the Bitcoin idea of a Bitcoin standard, I look at that and I think it's much more of the marriage. You know, sovereignty of fiat currencies, I believe, is for many countries sacrosanct. Ben Bernanke spoke at a Ripple event many years ago, and he made the point that governments will roll tanks into the street before giving up monetary supply, giving up the control of monetary supply, which stuck with me as, yeah, that makes sense. And so at Ripple, we very much focus on building the bridges between traditional finance, as Bill was describing, you know, what we now call TradFi, and decentralized finance. And that has meant working with a lot of the banks around the world to kind of build those bridges.
Governor, you have to address this. Is the
Oh, hold the fuck up. What did you just say? You said there's 130 people in here and they had 22 likes. Are you kidding me? There will be wrath. We had 130 people in here, 52 likes. Someone is slacking. The stream does not go on until we at least get 53. Yo, it just shot up to 70. Holy shit. Oh, is that all I got to do? I got to put the dramatics on. I got to put the Twitch streamer bullshit. All right, let me see. I lost my place. Yo, hit the like. Yo, hit the like. Oh, man. Where the fuck is Bradley's tab? I lost it.
You're in danger from a Bitcoin standard?
No, I'm a bit skeptical.
You have to address.
Working with a lot of the banks around the world to kind of build those bridges.
Governor, you have to address this. Is the euro in danger from a Bitcoin standard?
No, I'm a bit skeptical, Brian. Sorry to say it about this idea of the Bitcoin standard. We left the gold standard, but the gold was only a technical mean. What is important is what you say, Brad, that monetary policy and money is part of sovereignty. And we live in democracies, and I think the public role is key. And if we lose that, really you lose a key function of democracy. That said, I always keep repeating that money, as long as it exists for centuries, has been a public-private partnership. You need a public anchor, whatever its form is. Remember, and silver and gold were sovereign assets, so it was on the public side. And then you had banknotes, and you will have CBDC. But anyway, the most important part of payments is in the private sphere, and this is a development of tokenized private money. But this tokenized private money must be regulated to inspire trust, confidence. And this is another danger we should treat, that tokenization could develop, if not safe enough, financial risk. With the multiplication of stable coins, which are very different, which are fragmented. This is the issue, Bill, you mentioned. And so we must have safe enough regulation. This is MiCA in the euro area. This is now Genius in the US, which is
they
welcome.
Just got them.
Because if stable coins are not enough, we could have the risk of a somewhat Gresham's law, you know, this famous one, that the bad currency is more used for transaction and the good currency, which would be CBDC, would be kept for store values. Right. So I think we are on the right track to regulate. We could improve MiCA, still more improved Genius, perhaps. And the question of compatibility you raised, we discuss it in the BIS. I happen to chair the BIS. There is a so-called Agora project, and we will discuss it in the G7 in the French presidency. Right. But regulation is not the enemy of innovation. Once more, it's a guarantee of trust.
It's fascinating that you say that. Brian, you mentioned a
wow, that was a Wow, now I'm wondering what that guy was spouting off in the beginning. I want to hear what he has to say. He's just coming out. Dude, they laughed at him. You are right, whoever said that. He laughed at him. The thought of a Bitcoin standard. I mean, for real, you sound moronic if you say that out loud in front of these people. I mean, they just laughed him out of the room. When you answer to the BIS is the Council of Ricks. When you answer to that, that's what's happening. Whatever they want to do is what they're going to do. They've been enacting. It's crazy to hear him say that. He's just like, I want to hear what he said about the store of value part. He's like, the weaker currency. Did he literally just say, like...
And so we must have safe enough regulation. This is MiCA in the euro area. This is now Genius in the US, which is welcome. Because if stable coins are not enough, we could have the risk of a somewhat Gresham's law, you know, this famous one, that the bad currency is more used for transaction and the good currency, which would be CBDC, would be kept for store values.
Right.
So
CBDC would be kept for store of values or store of value?
very different, which are fragmented. This is the issue bill you mentioned. And so we must have safe enough regulation. This is MiCA in the euro area. This is now Genius in the US, which is welcome. Because if stable coins are not enough, we could have the risk of a somewhat Gresham's law, you know, this famous one, that the bad currency is more used for transaction and the good currency, which would be CBDC, would be kept for store values. Right. So I think we are on the right track to regulate. We could improve.
They'll correct you by saying French. Ripple might be the IMF. They got some ins with all these guys. Guys just out here spouting off. That's insane. Oh my God. I can't believe they laughed at him. I can't believe they laughed at him. Oh my God. Brian does not belong. I mean, he does at the same time, but he's over there like fighting tooth and nail, apparently, unless it's all just optics. He's fighting for that. Oh, it's for everybody, trying to rally the troops. I mean,
the pipes that work, and the people who are custodians of the pipes, and the people who are the custodians.
Whoa, hold up.
Is like good
This
as
is
a
getting
check
crazy.
and balance on deficit spending, because when
is in the private sphere, and this is a development of tokenized private money. But this tokenized private money must be regulated to inspire trust, confidence.
Okay, we got that. I want to fast forward. I want to see what was after that.
And so we must have safe enough the guarantee of trust.
It's fascinating that you say that. Brian, you mentioned a complementary role that you could play. Is there a complementary role in Europe when there's so much regulation and it is about the digital euro?
Yeah, I actually think these are very positive sum. So crypto just broadly is a technology to update financial services. So it's going to help with stablecoins and tokenized equities and crypto assets and trading. And by the way, borrowing and lending is also getting updated. So I think that crypto is very good for fiat currencies. It's very good. Bitcoin is like good as a check and balance on deficit spending, because when there is a lack of trust, or people, from like in a U.S. context, if people are worried about inflation, or maybe in places like Argentina or Turkey or Nigeria, they are going to flee to the thing that they believe is going to store value more. So I think in general, it's going to be very complementary.
And that thing is just, it's set in stone Bitcoin forever. It's just set in stone Bitcoin.
Like you said, I think it comes down to trust. And so if fiat currencies can maintain trust and not have, the money printer kind of debasing everybody, then they'll survive. But if countries that have bad behavior on that dimension, Bitcoin doesn't have a money printer. The supply is fixed, and people will.
There's other digital assets. They love that argument. There's other digital assets with a fixed supply that have a lot more utility. So just on that logic alone, I don't know.
Go to it in times of uncertainty, kind of like they did with gold.
The guarantee for trust is independence on central bank side. And we have a common mandate, and we are accountable to that. But sorry to say that I trust more independent central banks with a democratic mandate than private issuers of Bitcoin, which have a very useful role. But
Bitcoin is a decentralized protocol. There's actually no issuer of it. So that's in the sense that central banks have independence. Bitcoin is even more independent. There's no country or company or individual who controls it in the world. And so anyway, I think it's a healthy competition, because if people can decide which one they trust more, and I think it's actually the greatest accountability mechanism on deficit spending.
Bill, come in.
Yeah.
He kind of, I don't know. He kind of clapped back at him with that one, honestly.
Back on the trust comment, we're talking about the trust in the instrument itself, which is key. And obviously, the trust and sovereignty are two conflicting objectives. And the Bernanke tank point is very real. That's very real. And I'm sure he's right. I'm sure he's right today as well. But there's also trust in the infrastructure. So for a monetary system to be effective, you have to have the instruments that work, and you have to have the pipes that work. And the people who are custodians of the pipes and the people who are the custodians or the market, that's the custodian of the instrument, need to be trusted by the sovereign entities, unless sovereigns are prepared to give up power and go to a completely decentralized world. But that's not the way it seems to be happening, and I think we'll probably hear about that later today as well, in a very different context. Power matters when it comes to money. So the trusted entities in the financial system today are many. I'll put banks at the center of that, mostly because we've been regulated to the point of extinction in some cases. But we've been regulated aggressively on the back of misdeeds. So there is an embedded trust in the banking system, which is why Senator Chartered has been, I'll say, at the forefront of a few of these initiatives, because we want to parlay the trust that we can bring, we collectively as banks can bring to the system, and lever these fantastically powerful new instruments in a complementary way.
There's an element of trust, but there's also an element of momentum. We're seeing it in terms of the swing away to gold, which is now just a momentum trade as trust is eroded. Brad, do you want to come in on this and the element of trust?
Well, I certainly think momentum is a big part of this, and I think, frankly, I personally think the crypto environment and stablecoins included, even tokenization, momentum is so much on our side of that direction, and that's partly because you're seeing the U.S., the largest economy in the world, has been pretty openly hostile towards facets of crypto and blockchain technologies, and that has shifted dramatically, starting with the White House, but certainly, the work that the industry based in the U.S. has come together and helped elect a much more pro-crypto, pro-innovation Congress, and you're seeing that play out. So I think momentum is a big part of this, and continuing to make sure that we're playing into that in a nice way, but also demonstrating real results, because look, if this is just hype, I think part of the tokenization topic, the main topic today, part of that is we shouldn't tokenize everything just to tokenize something. There has to be a positive outcome of efficiency or transparency or some of the root benefits of being tokenized. Otherwise, it's just okay, it's a nice science experiment.
I'm surprised no one's throwing democratization of the market to me, and that's typically the argument when we have some sort of innovative approach to an asset class. Valerie, do you want to come in on this and the perspective that you have? Because today, as we talk about real-world assets, there is a huge switch towards alternatives, and you're looking at what that means in terms of access to some of those products.
Absolutely, and frankly, coming back on the point on trust, we just wanted also to bounce back on that. I think also as the market mature, people are looking also for trusted party who can really continue to bring safety for the market, but they're also looking for institutions which are bridging different zones, different pools of liquidity, and this is where a financial market infrastructure starts playing a role, because indeed we need to first see how the market is emerging, but then when we are starting to reach a certain level of maturity.
This just because someone said you got to analyze the language with these guys, because this is the world stage. This is actually it. So I just with the Bitcoin thing. Seems like he was just kind of there to be the butt of the joke, but he did kind of clap back with that, though. Oh, man. We already know who Satoshi is. Well, we have a strong idea. We don't know for sure 100%. Do we? Is there 100% evidence? We have a really strong idea. All right, let's get past this fucking...
products which are meeting more their needs. Maybe sometimes traditional finance has not evolved sufficiently fast to really attract those alternatives in terms of ease of alternative and
the attractiveness of the asset also in some parts comes down to yield. And it's funny, gold's been so attractive, but doesn't pay a yield. There's a fight brewing stateside around regulation, and I know, Brian, you've had issues with the Clarity Act, and now it's stalled thanks to some of your opposition. You've been talking about whether there should be a reward paid for some of these tokenized assets, almost like a dividend. Just explain that notion to us, because the Chinese are pushing ahead with the revamped yuan that pays some sort of a dividend. Why is it necessary in your view? Is it just pushing the agenda for Coinbase? or is it good for consumers?
Yeah, so the legislation in the U.S. has been making good progress on market structure, and I wouldn't say it's stalled. I'd say there's a good round of negotiation happening.
I hope.
And so I think that that's positive. What we shared publicly was that we want to make sure any crypto legislation in the U.S. does not ban competition for traditional financial services, banks, or traditional securities brokerages. And in
That's
our
fair.
reading of the draft, that's what it did. It actually unfairly penalized crypto companies. We think they should be able to compete on a level playing field. And when there's competition, that's how the consumer benefits. And I think there's very forward-thinking bank CEOs like Bill Winters and others that have just really been leaning into this as an opportunity. They recognize change is, you can think of it as a threat or you can think of it as an opportunity. So the smartest bank CEOs are leaning into this. Some of their lobbying organizations in DC are trying to put their thumb on the scale and ban their competition, which I have zero tolerance for. So we're going to speak up if we ever see that happening. But yeah, I think there's two main reasons why in this case, the main debate is around stablecoins paying rewards. First, it just puts more money in consumers' pockets, right? So I think people should be able to earn more money on their money, right? That's the high level. It's also about global competitiveness, though, like you said. China did just come out recently and say that their central bank digital currency is going to pay interest, okay? And then there are offshore stablecoins that are actually larger than the U.S. regulated ones right now, and they would love it if the U.S. stablecoins were banned from paying rewards because it allows them to flourish offshore. So we need, from a U.S. legislator point of view, they should be ensuring U.S. regulated stablecoins are competitive. Same thing from a European stablecoin point of view. I hope
no one's using that.
Eurocoin and et cetera continues to grow. And,
well, they're going to have to,
we're in a
unfortunately.
global competition. We need to make sure that consumers benefit, and each country puts their interests first.
But you're speaking their wrong language. He literally said their plan, which we've known with the digital euro and everything, that shit's going to be the surveillance tool of a
Governor,
lifetime.
to that point, does the digital euro need to pay some sort of an interest?
No, the answer is no. In our case.
Why?
No, because we do not people want interest.
No. Let me explain perhaps with a somewhat philosophical remark on this apparent opposition between innovation and regulation. Because I'm a bit fed up with this opposition. Let me explain. So this idea that Europe would be only on the regulation side and innovation only in the US, there is an apparent contradiction, I agree. But there is a common purpose in the long run, which is trust, and we mentioned it. Regulation without innovation, I am not interested. I say to the central bankers, it would be status quo, statism, I'm not interested. But innovation without regulation, it could create serious trust issues. Financial crises exist, and they are born sometimes of misleaded or dangerous financial innovations. And financial crises have a very high cost. This is why we need regulation. So I think it's common interest to find the right balance. On this question of remuneration of stable coins and or CBDC, we have a look at the effect on financial stability on the banking system. I don't want to enter the US debate. We see where the interests are. There are also private interests. They are legitimate. But the public purpose should be also to preserve the stability of the financial system. In our case, CBDC, and especially the digital euro, is not intended to attack the...
Dude, even she is like... She's like disgusted from this guy, like, because he's spewing such. Yeah, I trust this guy with my life.
System and its deposits, so we should be cautious on the transfers. I strongly believe in complementarity on public-private, and this has.
I'm gonna need a Happy Meal token after this.
It's a change of technology today, but it's not a change of principle.
Right. Brad, come in on this because.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah, come on. We need Bradley in here bringing the fucking. He's the neutral party.
The innovator in the room, but you also believe in regulation.
Yeah, I think what's going on in the U.S. right now it is a classic dynamic of when you create new law, it's never going to be perfect. And I think what's the dynamic within the industry and working with Congress has been kind of. I subscribe to the idea that perfection is the enemy of good, and you can't get to perfection. And so I think Brian's exactly right. We're as close as we've ever been in providing that clarity. As some in the room probably know, Ripple lived through a 5-year battle with the U.S. government being sued because of the lack of clarity. So we are very much an
No, that wasn't why. I mean, let's be real here. That's not why.
advocate of clarity is better than chaos.
That shit seemed heavily orchestrated, in my
I think
opinion.
Brian's right. We are very close. I don't know if we
But what about
stalled
the
or.
rewards side? Rewards, dividends, interest, is it necessary on stablecoins?
Ripple doesn't have as much of a dog in that fight as others in the industry, and so there's others that have stronger opinions. It doesn't directly affect Ripple's business as much.
Wait, what? What did she say? I blanked out for a second. What did she say?
I think Brian's right. We are very close. I don't know if we
But what about
stalled
the
or.
rewards side? Rewards, dividends, interest,
rewards.
is it necessary on stablecoins?
Ripple doesn't have as much of a dog in that fight as others in the industry, and so there's others that have stronger opinions. It doesn't directly affect Ripple's business as much. I agree in some ways that, look, competition is good, and I agree very much with the idea of level playing field. Now, I also think a level playing field goes two ways, in that crypto companies should be held to standards that banks are, and banks should be held to standards that crypto companies are in order to compete. So I don't think that's
Meanwhile, he's both. Meanwhile, he's
a
both.
one-way street that somehow Team Crypto gets to have a certain pass in some way.
Bill, let's hear from the banker in the room. There's pragmatism. Money goes where there are returns and where there's the best option. Your bank also operating big corridors across Asia as we talk about digital yuan, as well as in Europe. So how do you see this playing out? Do any of these tokens need to have some sort of an interest-bearing element?
This is actually a really good panel. Standard Chartered, because he's partnered. They're partnered with Coinbase to it. I think they announced, this was a couple of weeks ago or something like that, that they're going to be partnering with Coinbase for infrastructure, like Brian's always out talking about. And I'm pretty sure we've seen Standard Chartered with Ripple in certain capacities. I don't remember off the bat. Let me see something real quick. Dude. We got 185 people in here. We got 112 likes. You got to hit that like button real quick. It's the bare minimum. It's dapping up the fucking door guy. You're never just going to walk by the door guy. That's it. We're going to get right back into what Standard Chartered's about to say. This battle for the rewards. It's insane. Brad is literally the neutral party there, and that's kind of the whole point. The whole point, the neutral bridge. They are the bridge. One of the bridges. It's going to be a multi-chain world, so I don't know who the fuck thinks it's like one winner take all. I think a lot of them are going to do very well, in my opinion, dude. In my humble opinion. It's like, oh man, insane. How many businesses are built on fucking AWS and shit? Like, it's just, oh god. The plumbing. You could find the plumbing.
I think if I can be very simplistic about it, I think tokens are going to be used for two things. They'll be used as a medium of exchange. No particular need to bear interest for a medium of exchange because they'll be instantly transmitted, and they'll be used as a store of value. And as a store of value, they're much less interesting if they don't carry a yield. But there will be tokens that are called stablecoins. There'll be tokens that are called tokenized bank deposits, which will probably bear yield, and there will be tokens that are called tokenized money market funds, which will definitely bear yield. That's the whole point. Right now, stablecoins are big and liquid. Super. The CBDCs don't exist yet in a commercial scale. Maybe they will. I hope they will in the right form. And tokenized money market funds, of which we've issued in currencies like Hong Kong dollars, or eventually it'll be CNH, Chinese currency, will exist. And they will be useful as a store of value. And our research estimates, everybody's got their own numbers, and maybe we'll get to $3 trillion of outstanding stock of stablecoins in the next 3 or 4 years. The bulk of that is going to be in developing economies where there's lack of confidence in the local currency, and stablecoins of whatever form, it could be Bitcoin, will be used as a store of value. Bitcoin's quite volatile. Everybody knows that the US dollar is the US dollar. You like it, you don't like it, but you know what it is. So that money is going into stablecoins today. It may go into tokenized money market funds in the future if they're available and if they're bearing yield. Frankly, we don't care. As a bank, we don't care.
We want the money.
Our customers to get
Yeah,
the
they
best
don't-
thing for them. So
They
if
don't
it's-
care.
if
They
it's
don't care.
the medium of exchange, we want to provide them with the entry point and the exit point. And we do that today. They like us for it, and we'll keep on doing that.
I like that he just says it though. He's like, just give us the money. We don't give a fuck. Like, just tell us what you want. We give it to you.
When
Give
it
us the
comes to
money. That's
store
it. We
value,
move on.
Especially in emerging markets, got to be compliant, right? I mean, there's probably a black market transaction someplace that gets that local currency out of the local currency into US dollars. Sometimes it's legit, sometimes it's not. That's always been an issue. And as a bank, we're a policeman. That's our job, is to try to prevent that. Unfortunately, banks don't prevent most financial crime. But
Valerie?
What then the amendments coming for the XRPL and Stellar, the privacy features. Privacy features for Stellar, I think, roll out tomorrow, but it's going to be a couple of weeks until the XRP ones, like the permission domains and shit. The permission, the ability to, I don't know. That's just, I think that's the...
Come in on this, because we've spent all week talking about European competitiveness. And if we're talking about different regulation, different approaches here, is Europe going to be left behind?
No, because...
I'm an optimistic person, and I'm a European. So
We can tell.
I don't
What
think
the
that
fuck? She kind of just looks like Christine Lagarde in like a wig and a fucking...
Europe will be left aside, but Europe has to accelerate. I think it's, and I think 25 has been a year where everybody realized that there is a need indeed for fair competition, for level
What do you think she is, Knight?
but also for acceleration.
They want the
in
customers to get the
innovation.
yield.
And I think
Exactly
there is
why
a
Coinbase
willingness
is
in
fighting
Europe to
it.
do so. And,
All right. I don't really care what she has to say, to be honest. The other two, I don't know.
Quick one, Brian, before we open up to the audience. Is there a geopolitical element here? We've got so many stable coins backed by US dollars. You've got the yuan moving at pace as well. The reality of the future, if there's more transactions in both of these currencies bypassing other elements, does that have consequences for the relevance of, say, the euro and other currencies?
I do think that they're in global competition, absolutely. China, US, Europe, going down the list, Japan. I mean, in some ways, Europe is ahead of the US because they passed MiCA legislation, so they have comprehensive crypto legislation, while the US only has about half of it done right now with the Stablecoin Act. And we're now working on market structure. So Europe is ahead, but the vast majority of stablecoins are actually US dollar backed still. And so, you know, when I meet with leaders in the Europe,
So they're not, yet again, a stablecoin is not a
basically
stablecoin.
encourage them to move faster, allow some of these things like rewards on stablecoin, which is different than interest and yield, that would allow them to be globally competitive. So I do think Europe, I'd like to see them move faster on European stablecoins.
Governor?
No.
Hello, Governor.
I think on this question of sovereignty and geopolitical balance, first we
He wants to rule the world.
are all from advanced economies. And
No, not
this
Velma.
is perhaps missing in the panel, because this development of tokenization, you mentioned it, Bill, is probably an increasing challenge for some developing countries or emerging economies, because it could mean a full dollarization. Let me put it this way. On the other side, it will bring serious economies, cost savings on the cross-border business. And this is a huge benefit, I hope, for the developing world. But here, obviously, the worry about tokenization is bigger in the South, to put it up. And we had discussion in the G20 by some very important emerging countries, emerging powers, saying we should forbid cryptos, which I think it's not a good solution. We would lose innovation. But be aware there is this issue. If I may add two other points. On your point, Brian, I agree that tokenization is probably an accelerator of the diversification of the monetary system and diversification of currencies. At present, most stable coins are in dollar for a very simple reason. It's linked to the main use case, which is crypto exchanges. But if we come to financial transactions and still more to economic transaction, your prediction, Bill, I would be ready to bet for 28 for financial transaction, not less for economic, but we'll see. But
I'm having a tough time following him,
if
to
we
be
move
honest.
to these other use cases, we will have this diversification.
Right.
And here, infrastructures will matter much I agree with Valérie. This APIA project I mentioned is really to ID to build an integrated
He's drunk. I don't think he's drunk. I think he's just not fluent in English,
infrastructure,
which is fine. I
in
mean,
the European market.
it's just it sucks. He's the central banker. I really want to. I mean, we know he has that smugness to him. I mean,
It will accelerate capital markets union.
Now, we're going to take some questions from the floor. So if you do have a question, just put your hand up and we're going to bring a microphone down to you.
oh, don't give these fucking morons a microphone. What?
Just in the meantime, to our online
Bitcoin.
audience,
They got,
remember you can get involved.
they got people running in.
WEF26.
Hashtag.
A microphone here.
Yeah, very smug and arrogant as the central banker roll up on the stage would be. And then there's like the bank that's kind of getting hip to it. And then there's Coinbase, Lex Luthor. And then there's Brad, the neutral party, which they better utilize Brad more. It's crazy. Yeah, they like, I don't know. They fucking throw him off to the side. Still the best iconic clip ever is one at the UAE or Dubai blockchain place. It was Tom Lee, and Tom Lee was the moderator. And when Brad was on there, and Brad kind of served with like his statement, and then Tom Lee was like, okay, we're gonna have to move on. I'm getting word right now, because he didn't want to rebuttal it because he was completely right.
If you want to pitch a question directly to anyone on the panel, please feel
Give Brad a question. What we care
free.
about. Lex Luthor up there, Brainiac.
Oh, stand up? Okay. So, hello. Thank you very much. Fantastic panel. My name is Fernando, but the chief economist of a big Brazilian bank.
Say that 10 times fast.
So my point is, what do you think would happen with credit leverage, with duration transformation and monetary policy in a world where stable coins win the game? Let's say it this way. Just would love to hear your views. Thank you.
Governor?
Yeah, answer that one, bitch.
Very simple question. You come from a Brazilian bank. Yes. You said Brazil is a very interesting example where, as you are aware, at present, the Brazilian central bank developed a fast payment system, which is probably the most efficient worldwide, with PIX. And there is now the idea of extending this infrastructure also to a kind of CBDC with drugs. So if stablecoins only win the game, this would mean, it's an extreme case, that money would be completely privatized. I wouldn't be completely reassured, to use a euphemism. We had in the past, again, technology doesn't change the philosophy. We had example in the past where money was completely private, without a serious central bank. Take what existed in the US in the 19th century under your control. And there was no real Fed or central bank, and there were many crises of confidence. So I don't say at all that central bank currency will be dominant, will have a significant market share, but it's an anchor of confidence.
Right.
And it's why I insist so much on complementarity. I think it's the interest of stable coins to be fully equivalent at par, one-to-one, without fees, to a central bank currency.
Brian, coming quickly so we can take another question too.
Yeah, I would just say, in a world where stablecoins grow to that extent, I wouldn't say that they're entirely private money. I mean, in the U.S., at least under the Genius Act, all the stablecoin reserves have to be held in short-term U.S. Treasuries. So they're really backed by U.S. Treasuries, but that privately issued the token. And then I think what will happen is, you mentioned like the transformation or maturation comment. I think that in that world, you're going to have companies that are just have a 100% reserve of people's money held in U.S. Treasuries. There's not going to be a concept of fractional reserve if they don't want to get licensed as a bank, right? And so what does that mean? It means people can earn rewards on those stablecoin balances, but if they want to earn a higher return, the customer can opt in to lending out their money, and that'll have to pay a higher rate than what they could get in short-term U.S. Treasuries. So it actually flips the banking model a little bit on its head.
Right. Another question here.
I have a much more basic question. Unless I'm mistaken, tokenization built on blockchain technology. Blockchain technology requires compute and electricity. Given the fact that we already have an issue in terms of having enough capacity to cover all the AI that's coming down on us, how are we going to cover all the tokenization that's coming down on us?
Well, you're going to need an efficient ledger. I wonder what those ledgers could be.
Brad, is that one for you?
Oh, Brad, right to Brad.
Sure. I mean, I'll comment briefly. I mean, not all layer one blockchains are created equal. Some use, as you're describing, proof of work. Some use proof of stake. Some use other consensus models. So I wouldn't uniformly put all of the kind of blockchain infrastructure in kind of one power.
Dude, that guy. No! Go up. There we go.
Lens.
Yo, the O Tesla with the $10 super chat. You wake up tomorrow and XRP's $50. What do? I panic. If I'm being honest, I panic. Who created Jasmy? I don't know what the fuck that is. Stop talking about Jasmy. It sounds like a scam. I wish Brad would talk more, not him. The guy in the audience who asked that question seems like a plant. Literally seems like a plant in the audience, and this is also.
And so I don't think it's as big as a deal. And what you're seeing is most of the activity of stablecoins today is on more power efficient.
All right, if you're telling me to shut the fuck up, get out of here, fucking. Back to GRU 12B fucking -74. You can. How about you pick the lint out of your belly button first, right? Channel activity. What else you say? It's a 75 bozo. Happy to make it stream. Fucking with me. What's going on here? You fucking with me? What's that from? Fuck with me, stop fucking with me. Oh, that's Poly D, bro. Where's this thing?
Either use proof of stake or a consensus mechanism.
Just to add to that, proof of stake
I realize that. My bad.
99.9% less energy than proof of work.
Right.
Which most of the
You guys should at people so I know what you're talking about to a certain extent.
On Ethereum blockchain, which uses proof of stake.
Another question.
Oh, Ethereum. What the fuck did he say about Ethereum? What did he just say?
Use other.
Yeah, if we're talking about Jasmy, I'm going to ban it.
Consensus models. So I wouldn't uniformly put all of the kind of blockchain infrastructure in kind of one power lens. And so I don't think it's as big as a deal. And what you're seeing is most of the activity of stablecoins today is on more power efficient blockchains, either use proof of stake or a consensus mechanism.
Just to add to that, proof of stake uses 99.9% less energy than proof of work.
Right.
Which most of the tokenization is happening on Ethereum blockchain, which uses proof of stake.
Okay, then why is it fees and gas fees and all this bullshit still? Why is Ondo still tweeting about the inefficiencies of the network?
Another question here.
Yeah, I'm Aaron Schwarzkopf. I'm the founder of the largest.
He is the Bitcoin and ETH guy. I mean, yet again, he's the next iteration of the bank. He doesn't give a fuck. He just wants to make the money. So, I mean, they all do at the end of the day. But
payments company in Latin America that's not non-bank. I see a lot of countries in the global south that don't control their own currency. Why haven't they been on chain already? And what do you think needs to happen to move their whole payment infrastructure to the blockchain and perhaps to have stablecoin replace like the dollars they use locally?
Who wants to take that one?
that should be for Brad.
They haven't because of the sovereignty concern. And I think most developing economies are still, not all, obviously there's some examples of countries that have gone entirely digital and they've given up the sovereignty of their currency. Others have accepted dollarization and they've given up the sovereignty of the currency. Most are resisting that for the reasons that the governor mentioned at the outset. So then it just happens through the back door. And you end up with a de facto dollarized system. But at Standard Chartered, we operate in many de facto dollarized economies. They work. It's not bad at all, actually. But the government has an extremely important lever of power.
Does look nervous.
These are
she
not
does.
typically democracies, although they may be in some cases. But
Dude, literally no shade to these people at all. But if I mean, I would be nervous as shit. But I would fucking kill to be the whatever the moderator for something like this.
To control the destiny of their people, which typically isn't popular.
I'd be mad biased though. I'd be tossing Brad fucking softballs every 5 quarters. Be like, all right, fuck Brian though, but Brad, what do you got to say about it?
But if it doesn't happen through the front door, it happens through the back door. But the better outcome by far is to have a legitimate monetary regime in the first place that's managed by a legitimate central bank. And obviously, many countries in the world have achieved that, not least the European Central Bank. So, no, let's be serious. I mean, like, how many countries have hit their inflation target, consistently over a period of time? I mean, we're struggling with that right now. So, anyway, but you guys are experts, and you're dealing.
Yeah, there you go.
Can I only add, on a positive note, I completely agree with what Bill just said, that many of these emerging countries and still more developing economies are very innovative in fast payment systems. So they are more on the infrastructure side than the currency side itself. But I'm impressed by the fact that advanced economies are not the most innovative in fast payment system.
Now, let me
And
just
PIX is not the only example. Take UPI in India, take South Africa. There are very interesting things happening
Sounds like
on the
Beetlejuice.
payment systems.
Right. I want to push on to an issue that impacts Western markets, developed markets, emerging markets. If we have more fractional
true.
ownership,
Opulence.
does that drive speculation? Because we've seen it in many areas where there's fractional ownership. You've seen it in the retail investor getting involved in many places. You actually have an escalation of that asset class. You think about single homes, and there was an announcement recently from the president trying to keep out institutional ownership. And if you put that together, was that a preemptive strike ahead of some of the changes that are coming in tokenization? Brad, do you want to touch on that? Does it provoke more speculation in asset classes, and where does that leave the average owner?
Well,
question.
you're choosing the word speculation. I subscribe to Brian Armstrong's comment earlier of like opening up investment access, and investment versus speculation. I put in kind of two different buckets. They both have a purpose, and they both have active market participants. But I think the opportunity around tokenization for certain verticals is in fact the democratization of access to investment, less so on the speculation side.
Bank the unbanked, bitch.
I don't know enough about Trump's decision to make steps towards banning institutional investment in residential real estate to comment there. But I do think if you want economic exposure, investment exposure to a commercial building in Miami, and you have $10,000 US, you can't do that today. And I think opening that up, and I know Brian's example is even better because it's the many billions of adults who don't have any access. My example is not perfect for that, but you get the point.
Bill?
Look, investments are speculation, two sides of the same coin. Versus transparency. So when you have, in a fractionalized world, you'd have much more transparency. Transparency is typically good for systemic stability in the long run.
Well, he's at the
although it can lead
WEF.
to bubbles or bouts of short selling that induce volatility. On balance, I think where we've had nasty financial crises, they've been when there have been problems that some in the market have seen, but couldn't act on and couldn't normalize that. So I would always vote for transparency. Fractionalization should lead to transparency.
Governor, 10 seconds.
No, just to say that yes, to increase access to investment, as you said, but it must go along with increased awareness of risk. And this is the question of advice by the financial industry to their customers and financial literacy. So it should go together. If not, it could be a catastrophe at the end.
Valerie?
I completely agree. I think it's two sides of the same coin. I think it's also according to the risk profile of the people, but access doesn't mean speculation necessarily.
I'll take a different take, which is I think the top 10 fiat currencies of the world will have enough trust to persist, and the next 100 should either get dollarized or replaced by Bitcoin.
And on that note, we are right at time. Thank you so much.
We are definitely missing a developing country.
Thank you so much to our terrific panelists. We do appreciate you weighing in. I think we've all learned a lot about tokenization.
Brad, are you gonna say
so
nothing?
we do appreciate it. Remember to get involved, hashtag WEF26, although I'm not sure if we're still hashtagging anymore. Brad, are we still hashtagging?
We're still hashtagging.
Oh, that's the question he gets? Shut the f***
Okay, we're still hashtagging. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh. Come on, that's the question he gets. Oh, Brian, I think Bitcoin. Shut up. Damn, they're out of there. What the hell? Where are these people running to? Fucking the meatball parlor? Where are they going? Oh, man. Oh, my God. Why are we moving? Everything's down, and we're moving a little bit. Ooh. Interesting. That panel, that was a good panel. Definitely, yet again, they didn't shine too much light on Brad, but they put Brad in these places, but I don't know. Everyone laughed. That was a solid clip. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that's crazy. Wait, why is Brian Johnson talking? Who's Brian Johnson? Isn't that the dude who's like 40 but he wants to live forever? Something like that. Shout out that guy trying to be healthy or something. Yeah, it's interesting times, to say the least. So let's see if we got any breaking news now, since we've been into AFK from the main feed. Oh yeah, everyone's getting all these their clips out of the Brian Armstrong exchange. What is that? Luxury. Fraction. Take a look real quick. Ghislaine Maxwell to testify before the U.S. House Oversight and Government Reform Committee on February 9th. That's true. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Davos thought you was not truly Davos. I agree. Oh, Lutnick's there. Yeah, Lutnick's been making some opinion. Yeah, these guys are kind of, I don't know, taking on Davos. Put it lightly. Look. Okay. We'll see if we get any more things rolling in. I think Davos is a week long. I'm sure we'll see. Oh, Brad was also on the All In podcast. I don't know when that comes out, but that should be good because you got people who actually kind of have some sense talking to Brad. A little bit more long form, I think. So hopefully it's good. Guys, support on Patreon. Link in the description below. Exclusive videos there weekly. Just like I said, I posted one literally last night, an extended cut. That's where I saw the World Liberty Financial, Donnie announcing the Mar-a-Lago conference, which was kind of crazy. And that's it. Hit the like button on the stream. Turn on notifications to know when I go live and new videos. And yeah, Patreon's the best way to support if you want more lives and that sort of shit. That's it. I will see you guys in the next